Imagine a fighter who not only takes out a dominant champion, but then gives Max Holloway his first ever KO loss, which is just unbelievable, and then finishes Charles Oliveira, the guy with the most finishes in UFC history, in what, under 3 minutes. What if I told you this fighter has never lost a single professional match, became a 2-division UFC champion before the age of 30, and is already ranked number 1 pound for pound in the world? So the big question for our deep dive today, looking at all this, is Ilia Topuria maybe the most unstoppable fighter we've ever seen in the UFC? And maybe even bigger, are we actually watching the greatest fighter of all time? Ilia Topuria's story is not just about fighting, it's about destiny. In less than a decade, he went from unknown regional prospect in Spain to a 2-division UFC champion, who dismantled legends on his way to the very top. The sheer dominance. 17 wins, 0 losses, 2 belts, no defeats against those names. What's fascinating here is just how rare that perfect record is. It's really rare, especially at this level, the absolute elite of MMA. So these claims, these greatest fighter of all time claims, they're not just hype. He didn't just beat Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira. He finished them. He ended careers, broke records, and shattered myths. The staggering. But those numbers, they don't tell the whole story, do they? Behind them is this incredible journey of struggle, survival, and conquest. And to really get to Topuria, you have to go back right to his roots, because his origin story is almost as wild as his fighting style. Born in Germany, his parents were Georgian refugees. They'd fled the conflict in Abkhazia. I mean, can you imagine starting life like that? So much instability. It builds a certain kind of toughness, doesn't it? From day one. Then, age 7, the family moves back to Georgia, and that's where he finds Greco-Roman wrestling, his first taste of combat. And that's so crucial. Those early experiences, the displacement, then finding wrestling. It forged this incredible resilience, adaptability. He wasn't just learning moves. He was learning how to handle chaos. As Topuria and his brother was learning another conflict. The Russo-Georgian War forces another move for the Topuria family, this time to Alicante, Spain. And it's there in Spain that Ilia and his brother, Alexander, discover Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he becomes the very first Georgian fighters ever to get a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Wow. So we've got this blend, the wrestling toughness, that gritty base mixed with this sophisticated Jiu-Jitsu mastery. That laid the foundation. It shows Ilia wasn't just learning techniques. He was learning to survive, to adapt, to overcome whatever was thrown at him. That's deep strength. So with that foundation, that wrestling, that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he goes pro in MMA in 2015. He's barely 18, just a kid, and he just tears through the Spanish regional scene. First 4 fights, all submissions. Clinical. Rear naked chokes, triangles, guillotines. Just a nightmare for anyone on the ground with him. His grappling was a nightmare for opponents. He quickly captured the mixed fight events featherweight championship in Valencia. By 2018, he was fighting internationally. He debuted in Finland, scoring yet another first-round submission. Later that year, he nearly captured Cage Warriors gold, but after missing weight, the belt was taken off the table, even though he won the fight in the first round. Soon, Brave Combat Federation came calling, and this is where the world began to take notice. In Bogota, Colombia, Topuria submitted Luis Gomez in the very first round. Then in Bahrain, he demolished Steven Goncalves by knockout. 2 fights, 2 finishes, 2 statements. Ilia Topuria was no longer a regional prospect. He was a predator looking for the biggest stage. That period really sharpened his killer instinct, showed he wasn't just a grappler anymore. And he definitely found that stage. October 2020 UFC calls, takes a fight against Yusuf Zalal on, 10 days notice? Short notice. And what does Topuria do? He just dominates him. Despite being the underdog, he dominated. 3 rounds later, he had his first UFC victory. From there, the rise was meteoric. 2 months later, he knocked out Damon Jackson in the very first round. In July 2021, he faced submission wizard Ryan Hall and silenced him with punches in round 1, which nobody expected. Against Hall in this fashion, But maybe the real test, or a huge one anyway, was in March 2022. He stepped up to lightweight against Jai Herbert. Early in the fight, Herbert landed a devastating head kick that dropped Topuria. He was rocked, visibly wobbled. Many thought it was over, but Ilia survived, regrouped, and unleashed a thunderous right hand that knocked Herbert out cold. Performance of the night. This Herbert fight was massive for Ilia. It was absolutely defining for him, as it showed his heart, his resilience, that ability to face real danger, serious adversity, and not just survive but come back and finish. Showed us that he isn't just a front runner. He can take a shot. Then later that year, submitting Bryce Mitchell, that was important too. It reminded everyone that he is not just a striker now. He is still elite on the ground. Don't forget his jiu-jitsu background. So then comes mid-2023, he headlined his first UFC card against Josh Emmett, UFC main event, and for 5 rounds, he put on a boxing masterclass. Total clinic. Just picked him apart. Dominant decision fighter of the night. Now he's 14 alone. And you could see he wasn't just winning anymore. He wasn't just beating contenders. He was dismantling top guys surgically. Everything changed in February 2024 at UFC 298. Topuria faced Alexander Volkanovski, the long-reigning featherweight champion. Volkanovski had defended his belt 5 times, beaten Holloway 3 times, and was considered pound-for-pound #1 in the world. Seemed unbeatable in that division. But on that night, Ilia Topuria shocked the world. In round 2, he landed a clean right hand that dropped Volkanovski. Seconds later, the fight was over. Just like that. New champ. Topuria was the new UFC featherweight champion. The reign of Volkanovski had ended. Absolute shockwaves through the sport. 8 months later, he defended his title against Max Holloway at UFC 308. Holloway, Mr. Iron Chin. Never ever been knocked out. Never. Through all those wars, all that volume he takes, never stopped by strikes. That streak ended when Ilia landed a brutal knockout in round 3. Ended the streak. Did what no one else could possibly do. Think about the weight of those 2 wins back to back. It is historic in its own sense. 2 fights, 2 legends defeated. Volkanovski dethroned. Holloway knocked out. Ilia Topuria was now the undisputed king of featherweight. But Ilia wasn't satisfied, maybe the ambition and maybe the weight cut. Yeah, reports were he was struggling with the cut. Struggling to cut weight, he vacated his featherweight belt and moved up to lightweight permanently. At UFC 317 in June 2025, he faced Charles Oliveira, Mr. Finish himself. Most subs, most finishes ever. Insanely dangerous everywhere for the vacant lightweight championship. Oliveira, the record holder for most finishes in UFC history, was considered one of the most dangerous fighters alive. Everyone was thinking this is the test for Ilia. Oliveira's ground game, his striking. But in just 2 minutes and 27 seconds, Ilia Topuria destroyed him with punches. Knockout. New lightweight champion. Showcase of unbelievable speed and power. So with that win, he joins that elite club? With that, Topuria became the 10th fighter in UFC history to hold titles in 2 different weight classes. But here's the twist, he did it while undefeated. Think about the other double champs. Conor, DC, Randy, BJ Penn, legends, all of them. None of them did it with a perfect record. That's actually insane. Ilia Topuria isn't just winning fights. He's rewriting what it even means to be on that list. He's setting a whole new standard right in front of us. He's rewriting the way greatness is measured. He's setting a whole new standard right in front of us. We've traced the path, the wins, the belts, but how? What makes him so dangerous? Let's unpack the style itself. We know the foundation. Elite grappling, black belt BJJ, the wrestling. Not pure grappling. But in the UFC, it feels like he almost reinvented himself as this devastating boxer. Where did that come from? How did he build that striking to be so lethal? It's a fascinating evolution, isn't it? He came in as a grappler. He could hang with anyone on the mat, probably sub most guys. But he and his team, they made a very smart, very deliberate choice. They knew to truly dominate across divisions, especially against guys like Volk, Holloway, and Oliveira. You have to control the stand-up exchanges. You can't just rely on takedowns at that level. So he committed fully to boxing. More squared, maybe slightly bleeded sometimes, very boxing-centric. It lets him generate incredible power, especially that right hand and the left hook. It looks so compact, though. It's not wild power. It's efficient power. He doesn't load up wildly. He uses what coaches call educated pressure. He cuts off the cage brilliantly, forces you where he wants you, scraps them. Yeah, traps them and then explodes with these short, precise combinations. 2-3 punches. Look at the Volchow again. Short right hand. Perfect timing. Minimal space. That's pure boxing craft. And the defense. I remember watching the Emmett fight. Him just slipping punches. That shoulder roll, it looked effortless. His defense isn't passive. It's proactive. That shoulder roll you mentioned, high-level boxing technique, he's not just dodging, he's baiting. He makes you commit, makes you miss. And he's already in position to counter. It's almost like grappling patience, but in striking. Controlling distance, controlling reactions, creating openings. And because everyone knows about the wrestling threat, even if he doesn't shoot, they have to respect it. Causes hesitation. That split-second hesitation is all he needs. Then the stats just back it all up, don't they? 17 wins, 15 finishes, 88%. It's unreal. And 2 divisions. Against 3 former world champs, 2 of them pound-for-pound greats. Ilia Topuria isn't just winning. He really crafted this masterpiece of dominance, redefining greatness in combat sports. So let's bring it back home. That first question I asked in the start, could we be watching the rise of the greatest fighter in UFC history? I mean, look at the facts I've laid out. Undefeated, 17-0, 2-division champ, only 28, pound-for-pound number 1. Finished Volkanovski, Holloway, Oliveira, legends. The resume is undeniable. Based on everything we've looked at, all the sources, the answer seems, well, pretty clear, doesn't it? Yes. We really might be watching the next GOAT take his throne. And the only real question left, for us, for everyone, who on earth can stop him? What's the strategy? What level of skill and heart does it take to actually beat Ilia Topuria? It's hard to even imagine right now. Maybe Islam Makhachev. We don't know, but we know a legend isn't just in the making anymore. The legend is here now. This is Ilia Topuria, the undefeated double champ. The Georgian-Spanish warrior who conquered 2 divisions. The man who dismantled legends and now sits atop the UFC mountain. If you believe Ilia Topuria is destined to be the GOAT, smash that like button. Comment who you think should challenge him next. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the greatest fighters in MMA history.